Well, one of the fun things that we did, talking about parties, was to dress up like hobos. And during the summertime, Uncle Alvin was usually came for a visit. And he was there at the time that he was so that we did these hobo costumes. He was so intrigued by them that he wanted this picture taken with us. So we dressed up and went out behind the barn and had our pictures taken with Uncle Alvin, and they really are adorable. We've just been enjoying them every time we looked at them. We all just had a good laugh because they are cute. We were elegant hobos. Oh, one of the good parties that we had was a church party when we burned the mortgage for the new, the old church. It must have been the old church, or was it the new church? Yeah, it was the new church. But anyway, I was in charge of having a party to burn the mortgage. Well, I began thinking up happy things that we could do, and decided, well, it was a time of great happiness for the whole parish, and so we just required that everybody bring a big smile to the party. So we met them at the door with a tape measure and measured the smile that they brought to the occasion, and we gave a prize, a very special prize, for this form of contest. The climax of that part of the party was that the winner of the smile would be seated on a special chair, and everybody grouped along the sides of the hall. It really was a bridge party and a dance also. At the time that we presented this final prize, it was supposed to be the grandest prize of the evening. We had it presented by a young man by the name of Monty Graham, who was, I think he was in charge of our shoe department, wasn't he, Mary? But he was an ex-prize fighter, and we needed someone who was skilled at falling down, because the climax of the whole thing was that Monty walked the full length of the hall with this gorgeous prize that was breathlessly awaited, and wrapped all in lovely tissue paper and big bows on it, and it was a big package, maybe 15, 16 inches square, as big as that. And just before he arrived at George Portnoff, who was the winner. He was a college professor and a very gifted man of Russian descent. And just before Monty arrived to present this, he trips himself and falls down and breaks everything, and it's all lovely crystal glassware there. And he did it so dramatically that there was dead silence, and I wish we'd had a camera to photograph the whole occasion, and the astounded expressions, the dismay on the faces. Well, it took a good full minute count for people suddenly to start laughing. And then all of a sudden it dawned on a few people. Now the whole thing was a frame-up, which it was, because I had saved various and sundry broken pieces of glasses. I'd planned it for months, and I had saved them and wrapped them up, so it was no loss to anybody. But of course it was a most dramatic moment, and in consolation we gave him a great big all-day sucker. And then at the bridge, this was a night when we gave away lots of prizes, and during the bridge session, we had perhaps this was a different party, but anyway, one good bridge stunt that we had was that every time you bid and made a game or a slam, you would stand up and flap your wings and crow. The men would crow, the hens would cackle, the women would cackle, and we would rush over with a basket full of small prizes. And so this kept, up a lot of interest and a lot of fun all during the evening that they get a prize. One really good party that I put on was was a campaign party. And in those days we were all registered Democrats, and we had this party down at the hotel, the Monte Vista Hotel, which was quite new then. It was a popular place to dance in. It was a dancing party, and everybody came in some kind of patriotic outfit, from the Goddess of Liberty to Uncle Sam. And as I remember, Jim Babbitt was Uncle Sam, and he did a real cute stunt all during the evening. He carried a whistle, and every time he blew the whistle, he had a crew of men who rushed to him. It was a signal for everybody to assemble, so they'd get together and they'd sing us a song. They had really practiced. And then they got to doing it in competition. If anybody else tried to sing, why, they competed in one corner. Anytime you heard that whistle blow, why, Jim's crew were assembling for some kind of a little show-off. It added a lot of interest to the party all evening. So we had a lot of cute party stunts that night. And anything for fun. They were competitive. We had some women's races, like, for instance, I had some ducks with the long ribbons around their necks, and then the women would have a long stick, a wand, a willow stick from the creek, and they would guide the duck the full length of the dance hall and compete. Then we had a chicken race. We didn't have the chickens tied up. We turned them loose, and the women had to catch them and bring them back to the judges' stand, and it was pandemonium, I'll tell you. We hung the opposing candidate, whoever we expected to win. I don't remember the details of the election. Yes, we had him on trial, and then we strung him up, and I really had a dummy with a rope around his neck and a hook up on the ceiling, a rope up on the ceiling, and we really strung him up, and he hung there. In fact, he was still hanging when the dance broke up. I had to go down and cut him down the next morning because what? It was, yes. I said we hung a dummy, and really strung him up to the ceiling. But I didn't take him down until the next morning. The hotel enjoyed having him there. So that was the first night that we had the elephant and the donkey masks. And I made costumes, a brown pajama suit for the donkey, and a gray big elephant, gray elephant dress. And of course, they were at the party all evening long and constantly competing. As I said, we were all registered Democrats, and we had contests between the donkey and the elephant all evening. Of course, we let the donkey win, and he got a bale of hay for his prize. And the elephant was defeated. Well, one cute thing that we had in the decorations, we made some cardboard soldiers, little like toy soldiers, and they were life-size. And I don't remember whether you remember helping us paint those and all, but we had them up in the attic for years afterwards because they were clever and they were big, and we had those as part of the decoration, which was something unusual and very attractive. Well, one fun party that we had at the house, I don't remember exactly the significance of it, but we dressed as country people, hayseeds, in country clothes, and it seems to me like we had some special invitations. And then, anyway, we sent a hayrack, horses and a hayrack really full of hay that had a little ladder to get up into it, and we picked up all the guests. So it was a hayrack ride being delivered at the house. and it was at the time when little goofy golf courses, mini golf courses, were raging all over the country. So I turned the whole house into a goofy course. You could take a tour of the whole house, encountering obstacles. We had tunnels and bed springs to walk on, and brought in the children's slide from from outdoors, and most of the evening we were going through this the whole maze of obstacles, and it was really a great fun party, because some of them were really kind of hazardous, and they were dark, and they were sometimes uncomfortable. And I think that one of the best persons, and I'm sure it was the most elaborate fun party that I ever had, was a gay 90s party, and there were several other people who went in with me, the Jacobs, the Arnold Bledsoes, and the Paul Babbitts. I think the four of us did this together, and we had a Flagstaff Country Club. And we just went all out on that party. Everybody came in costume, and we had 2 big rope swings with garlands of flowers all down the ropes, and the swing boards that we put in there were double so that 2 people could swing. I even had to have professional house builders go out there and pass a judgment of whether or not the rafters could take it. Well, anyway, they decided that it could, and it did. And these 2 big swings were fun. They were there all evening long. Of course, it was a dancing party, and we had all kinds of various things of choosing your partner. And well, in the first place, Joe helped out so much on this, because he sketched some great big panels of all gay 90 pictures of Bird in the Gilded Cage, ballroom scenes, and Mary, you made the barbershop quartet. That was such a hit of just the heads of men singing that the Flagstaff Country Club kept it in their bar for years after that. It was left with them. They begged for it. It was so clever. But all of these big yes, can girls, and bicycle built for 2, and we kept those pictures for years. I kept in my attic. We used them again, but the decorations were really elaborate. And Herb Babbitt Herb was a great dancer, and he loved to show off, and so I induced Herb to do a striptease, and furnished him with various and sundry costumes that he could gradually remove his dancing veils, various stages, and he finally got down to white drawers with embroidery ruffles on them, and a camisole that belonged to my mother with a ribbon threaded through, and he was a great hit. In fact, Fronsky took pictures of the party, and at the final stage of his striptease was exhibited downtown in Fronsky's window after that. And my 5 daughters, I made them red, what would you call it, Mary? Red dresses. They were barmaids. And yes, were barmaids with cute little white ruffled aprons, and they served all evening. That was the night that Rayma sang "I'm Just a Gal Who Can't Say No." It was when the Oklahoma was very, very popular, and we had one stunt, a big cardboard stand that I made that had a hole in it with some ruffles around it, a can girl like, and a place to put your real leg through. So for a price, this was a money-making evidently, but for a price, a girl, a real girl, someone solicited from the audience, would stick her real leg through there, and I had little garters made of rope. Oh, they were 6-7 inches diameter, you know, and the men were allowed then to try to wring the beautiful leg, and if they did, they were rewarded with a kiss from the owner of the leg. It was a fun thing. The men had great sport doing it. No, I don't think there was any money exchange. The kiss was the reward, and we had all kinds of old-fashioned dances from the waltz and the schottische and the Paul Joneses, where you get tagged and have to give up your partner. One of the cute things, the outcome of this party was what some of our neighbors did. The Carl Manghams and the Orrin Comptons, dressed as Salvation Army couples, made bonnets and coats and all, and they sang a song, throw a nickel on the drum just to save a dirty bum, and they got so enthused of learning these songs to sing that before the party they went early down on Santa Fe, where all the saloons in town were, and they went to all the saloons, and they had tambourines, and they sang in the saloons and passed their tambourines, and by the time they came out to the party they had 65 cents that was donated into their tambourines. And all evening, the whole evening, they were deeply serious in singing every little while in groups, and Carl especially appointed himself as a sort of a dedicated missionary, and he went around convincing people not to drink what alcohol meant to them, and so he occupied himself all evening, every little while, of preaching these little sermons. And yes, the old demon rum was his topic. I remember Kenneth Weber was the Kentucky colonel, and he officiated. Every little while he'd take over and give orders, and played the part. They really stepped into character. And Arnold Bledsoe was Diamond Jim Brady, and Opal had a Can Girl. They hired these costumes from Phoenix, costume place. And the party was the talk of the town for 2 months afterwards. At one costume party that Daddy went to, he usually contributed something the last minute, but it was a spontaneous and something creative and always very original. And when I couldn't get him to dress up, one night he finally, in my box of paraphernalia, he picked up a great big white artificial daisy, and he says, "I'll wear this." And he put it on his lapel, and I said, "Well, what kind of costume is that?" And he said, "I'm just a bloomin' Indian." The Gay 90s party was terrific. But for me it ended in quite a tragedy. We served a midnight supper, and among other things we had great big trays of stuffed buns, long slender buns stuffed with ham mixture and all, and we were going to serve them hot. And Sam Richardson owned a bakery downtown, and Sam had helped prepare these for the party. He and his wife were one of the guests, among the guests, and he came out to help me a little after 11 o'clock to put these stuffed rolls in the oven. Well, it was a big gas stove that had been reclaimed from a hotel that we had installed in the country club, a second-hand thing. And as we opened the oven door, he was helping me. The tray was so wide that we were both holding it and slipping it into the oven, and as we stooped down in the open oven and slipped the tray in, the whole oven exploded in our faces, and we were both on fire in a matter of minutes. I had on a taffeta dress, all bustled up, and a little flowered hat that was tied on with a great bow of veiling, of net veiling under my chin, and this whole thing burst into flames, which was all around my face. Well, the whole thing happened so quickly, and fortunately Carter Jekyll was standing there. Evidently he was, helping in some way too. And Carter snatched off his coat and wrapped my head in his coat. And of course, this was the end of the party for me. I was taken home in a state of shock and badly burned, and my face packed. The Dr. Creighton, being one of the guests, was there, and he went home with me. And I can remember him giving me high blows because I was trembling from head to foot for an hour. It couldn't get stop. My teeth had shattered. It's about all I remember, except that my whole face and hair and eyebrows were all burned off, and not all of my hair because under the hat, but all around my face. My throat was badly burned, and my face and my eyes were so badly burned that I didn't know for several days whether or not my sight was damaged or not. Well, we had a fun party during Christmas week one year that we all remember because we did such silly things that were real fun.
Maybe it wasn't.
Well, this was we had it midweek, Christmas week, and it was Rayma's wedding anniversary, Mary's wedding anniversary, and it was Herb Babbitt's birthday. So we featured everybody. This was the night that I gave all the daughters an anniversary clock that you only have to wind it once a year. It was one of these rotating clocks, and a glass dome on them, very pretty little clocks, and I gave each one of them. But because it was a celebration, I insisted that all of the son-in-laws get up individually and propose anew and to my daughters and ask them to go on being their wife, and this was the kind of highlight. And then I presented them with after their proposals and acceptance and all, then they were presented with each family was presented with one of these lovely clocks. Then of course we had to have something for Herb. Herb Babbitt, and Herb was always such a willing victim that he always contributed a lot. Herb was he was such a good sport that even though you expected nothing from him, something usually happened to feature him during the evening. But we decided that Herb was getting old and he was pretty close to heaven. We made him a halo, and we gave him a white gown, and we made him a gold cardboard harp to play and have his picture taken with. And Herb by this time was quite bald, and as a climax to featuring him of the evening, we were cake decorated. My college age daughters decorated his bald head with candy flowers, and we even put little candles in the decorations and lighted them and had his picture taken with it. At one of the Christmas parties, they were as usual featuring Mom and Dad, and among other things, they made some crowns for us to crown us king and queen, and they put a flowing gold robe on me, and my crown was so special because at that time I had 17 grandchildren, and included in the decorations were 17 little peanuts, all dressed up, each one labeled as different the name of the grandchildren, and to this day I still have that crown in a hat box, and I'm real proud of it.
That wasn't that party at all, because
at one of our one of the stunts was contributed unexpectedly by the Ted Babbitts. And since it was a Bilby anniversary, they had written a special poem. And at that time, the Bilbys had 6 children in rather rapid succession, like my own family. And so to the, let's see, patterned after The Night Before Christmas, the Ted Babbitts reiterated the birth of each little Babbitt child, and as they put it into rhyme, and each one arrived, they turned loose on my long dining room table, they turned loose a live rabbit to go right down the table until we had 6 little rabbits, all from the bride named Babbitt. I forgot to say that they first, as each little rabbit arrived, they had a Christmas stocking that they put it in, and then they were turned loose right on the dinner table, the long dinner table. These live rabbits were turned loose. The fun party was the obstacle race clear through the house. There was something else that we forgot to tell about. We all dressed in just sport clothes, kind of farm clothes, and I had a gold pleated skirt, accordion pleated skirt, and a yellow sweater that I wore, and a handkerchief around my neck. And a couple of weeks before the party, I made a doll the same size as I. Actually, I'm sure it was a birthday party for Daddy because it was summertime and it was May, and I made him this doll and dressed her in exactly duplicate clothes that I had on, and she was life size. And I stuffed her with Excelsior. Had a mask and hair and good face and a wig. And she was delivered at the house as a special delivery birthday gift for our father. Yes, I had some of these huge big flower boxes I'd gotten from Clara McGonigal, who had a flower shop for years in southern part of town. But anyway, she was delivered life size, a replica of me, and Dora got to be a member of the family that night. She was used for tag dancing and all kinds of passing around from one to the other, all kind of horseplay at the party. And at the end of the party, when we went upstairs to go to bed, we got hysterical when we arrived in the bathroom. Somebody had taken her, but Dora was seated with her skirt pulled up over her knees, and she was seated on the toilet. Bent over. Afterwards, we used her for so many things. Daddy bought me a gorgeous sable fur coat. It surprised me, and he dressed Dora in it and had her leaning over the bassinet and had me go into the room, and there was this strange woman leaning over my baby with this beautiful fur coat on, and this was Dora. Dora was found in every house guest. Dora was found in their bed smoking cigarettes, and also before the year was out, Dora had, wait a minute, well later Dora went to many parties, and she was used